I think you'll find it very interesting on the rewiring of our charter and the far-reaching implications this has to our community. On the 26th and 27th of this month, there will be public hearings that will be held at the Charter Commission from 5 to 9 p.m. And citizens are welcome to participate and voice their input.
Aloha. I think this proposal for empowering the district planning commissions is going to be extremely important for the future of Maui. How we develop our communities should be decided within each community, which will actually expedite things for developers because they won't have to go first to the advisory committee and then the planning commission. They can go straight to the planning commission in that district, and they can address the communities and the neighborhoods at those district planning commissions. So this should expedite the process, the permit process for developers.
I just think that this would be the most wonderful thing for Maui. Its time has come. We can do better, and we need to do better. Please support this charter amendment so we can bring a 21st century system of planning into our communities that really deserve the best that we can do. Mahalo.
Let's set up individual district planning commissions that will take a look and will be able to focus on the problems in the district by people who live in that district, who not only know the district well, but will be living with the consequences of the decision.
And the Kihei Community Association, or as most folks call us, KCA, we are in strong support of going in this direction. And we'll try and explain a few reasons why.
I'd like to say why I think that separate planning commissions for each of our community plan districts is really important. Years ago, I served on the planning commission. At that time, it was for the whole county of Maui. Molokai Lanai and one planning commission. Then as times changed and as we all grew, we separated out and had a separate planning commission for both Molokai and Lanai. And then Hana, feeling it was not able to get to the planning commission meetings in Wailuku, was given the role of having an advisory committee from Hana. But I felt that many of the most important changes that were happening in Maui were not happening in those three areas, but rather in Central Maui, South Maui, West Maui, lesser in upcountry area and Paia Haiku. And so the recommendation that I made to the to the Charter Commission was, let's set up individual district planning commissions that will take a look and will be able to focus on the problems in the district by people who live in that district, who not only know the district well, but will be living with the consequences of the decision. And so the recommendation that the Charter Commission is going to come up with is to end the single planning commission for the whole island of Maui and have 6 planning commissions, one for each of the community plan districts: West Maui, South Maui, Central Maui, Upcountry, Haiku Paia, and lastly, Hana East Maui. The Hana East Maui would be elevated from being an advisory committee to a full-on planning commission for that area. And they would get the issues. Now, the coastal districts, for example, will be taking a look at the coastlines and the shoreline management area issues, as well as any development. So let's say in South Maui or West Maui, somebody comes up with an idea for a new, whether it be a shopping center or a hotel or some other large residential community. It will be a planning commission from that area that will examine that and give it the green light or not as it goes forward. We'll review the environmental impact statements for that area. Right now, the central planning commission that we have for the whole island of Maui very often operates, and it only has 9 members, and very often operates without a member from a particular area district of the island. And that's really a problem when they make decisions. And sometimes they don't know about that area very well, and they're making decisions. This will, I think, allow the residents, let's say, of Central Maui, Wailuku, Kahului, Maui Lani, Kealani, that area, to be able to make decisions for Central Maui. They know the traffic, they know the school situations, they know any water problems that area may have much better than a single representative on the central planning commission does. And that's, I think, the proposal. I'm hoping that the residents of Maui will allow this to happen. And another aspect of this is that in the past, the planning commission always met during the daytime at 9 o'clock and went on. We're hoping that these district planning commissions will meet in the evenings, either live, if we can do it, or video virtually, if we need to do it that way. But we'll allow the residents in that community to be able to participate much more actively in their own district's future and changes that are taking place. So it'll be a 7-member group from each district. They will be picked by the mayor after being nominated, we hope, by his nominating committee and approved by the council, and they will serve on that district body. They will also form the basis for the Citizen Advisory Committee down the road that usually recommends major changes in the community plan for that district. So it's a big package, but I think will make for some much more logical decision-making and hopefully appropriate decision-making for each of the areas of the island of Maui. Molokai and Lanai, there'll be no change. They already have their planning commission and will continue operating as they have been. Please vote for it.
Aloha. I think this proposal for empowering the district planning commissions is going to be extremely important for the future of Maui. How we develop our communities should be decided within each community. Right now, we have a situation where oftentimes over the past decade or so, we've had 1 to 0 members of the South Maui community on the Planning Commission, and yet decisions are being made about major developments in our district. And this is happening for each district. Of course, there have been times when we haven't had anyone from West Maui on there, and times when we haven't had anybody from East Maui. Some of these advisory committees have popped up, and we've passed these ordinances to create the advisory committees to try to give more voice to these communities. But really, we can bypass that level and go straight to the Planning Commission, which will actually save time for developers because they could talk directly to the people who will be making the end decision in their own community. So I really urge the public to vote for this change. It's another level of home rule. And I'm currently the vice president of the Hawaii State Association of Counties. We meet, 4 of us, 1 from each county, and we meet to discuss some ordinances and policy making that we do in each of our counties. But we also discuss the need for home rule at the county level for some of these issues like the TAT tax, the hotel accommodation taxes, like being able to do our own development approvals and things like that. We are constantly focusing on home rule. So within Maui County, the idea of home rule now has trickled down to the community because we see the communities growing. Our community of South Maui has about 27,000 people now. And yet our advisory committee only has 7 people on it. Meanwhile, that's the same number of people on the advisory committee for Hana, which has 2,000 people. So there's an inequity even in the number of people on these advisory committees. But the real issue is that we're not able to make decisions for ourselves. So the proof will be in the pudding to see how the planning commissions actually take the advice of the advisory committees, which we have not heard very positive things from the Hana Advisory Committee in the past. They have oftentimes felt like they will make a recommendation that doesn't get followed. So there will be a question of cost of these planning commissions, having 1 in each community. Right now, we're moving towards having an advisory committee. So replacing those with a planning commission will not add any cost. It will just replace the title of the title and the authority of those advisory committees with the amount. They'll still have the same amount of support from the planning department, the same amount of support from the Corp Council. And yet they'll be able to make these final decisions, which will actually expedite things for developers because they won't have to go first to the advisory committee and then the planning commission. They can go straight to the planning commission in that district, and they can address the communities and the neighborhoods at those district planning commissions. So this should expedite the process, the permit process for developers. And I've been urging developers to have more interaction with the community, because one of the reasons why development has taken so long and had so much opposition in the past has been a lack of communication with the communities that the developments are going into. Now that the developers who are coming into South Maui District, with my encouragement, have been talking directly to the community associations and the neighborhoods. We've got something like 6 or 8 affordable housing projects that have come up between the time I first took office 5 years ago, that are on the books now, and one that's actually been has actually been fully subscribed. So the idea of communicating directly with the communities will only benefit developers, and it will not slow the process up. It will expedite it. You can spend 2 years fighting the community if you haven't communicated with them and worked out some of the issues that the community has with your development. And I've seen that happen, and I'm really happy to report that because of this type of communication, we are getting some expedited projects in the South Maui area for affordable housing. So it's important to empower ourselves. It's important to empower our communities. It's important for those of us who live and work and play in these areas to know where the appropriate developments are and when they should go in and when they should not go in. I urge everybody to understand that this is an opportunity for us to have home rule within the communities and to vote for this charter amendment. Mahalo.
Aloha, I'm Lucy Andine. I live out in Huelo, which is on the road to Hana, and it's a part of Maui that's rural and often kind of forgotten in planning decisions. I did volunteer a number of years ago to serve on the Maui Island Plan Advisory Committee, fondly known as GPAC, General Plan Advisory Committee. I served for 3 years along with 24 other volunteers, and we had an amazing experience of working things out, trading ideas, coming to compromises, hearing from thousands of members of the public over that 3-year period. And we had representatives from every single planning district involved. And that was really important. Before that experience, which was, back in the early part of the 2000s, I served from 2005, I think, to 2007. I served in California, which is my native state, way back when I lived there 40 years ago. I served as a regional planning commissioner. And we had regions in San Diego County where I lived, and each region had their own advisory planning group. And we heard all the local permits that were going to be held in that area, whether you were seeking a rezoning or seeking some sort of a land use entitlement that you didn't have already, or even a coastal zone review for a consistency with our brand new coastal zone laws. This was an amazing experience because a regional planning commission gets into the weeds. We went on site visits. We would go and look at a gulch that was going to be filled in. We would go to someone's property who was trying to build a barn and figure out, why what they were doing was a good thing so that we could definitely recommend it. We were advisory. We were advisory to the county council, or the county board of supervisors, they called it in San Diego County. And it's very similar to what is being proposed right now for the new charter amendment to have a transition from one planning commission with 9 people who may or may not have people from various geographical areas to actually having regional planning commissions that directly advise the county council, who makes the final land use decision on many permits, or directly approve permits that are now handled by the overall Maui Planning Commission. I just think that this would be the most wonderful thing for Maui. Its time has come. We all deserve to have folks who live in the community hear from members of the community that are seeking land use changes and work out something that's fair and equitable. It will save time. It will save money. It is so discouraging right now if you have to go to the Maui Planning Commission and basically commit an entire day to waiting around for one thing you might want to testify on. And it's, it may be a very important thing that you want to testify on, but you have no control over when it's going to be called, and you cannot testify until the item is called. And even though it's Zoom, you have to keep the Zoom on and keep checking in. No one notifies you. It's very unfriendly for the average citizen. And guess what? A lot of average citizens just give up. They do not share their valuable insights about their community and what would work for their community with the Maui Planning Commission, because it is just too onerous a process. It's just, too tough. If you're concerned about something, you go to the district where it's happening. It would really be, I think, a 21st century innovation, especially because we can have meetings online now. It would allow for so much more participation. And I think it would make people feel that they were heard. We had so many more people come to our General Plan Advisory Commission groups because they were held at night. And, they were just ordinary citizens that made people feel at home for the most part. And many, many folks who had never testified before at anything, who informed us of that, came to share their mana'o. And there were many good ideas. And I think I can speak for many of my fellow commissioners. We took notes and we tried to bring up the concerns we heard from the public. And that's because we were representing regions and we were really engaged in the process. So we need these regional planning commissions to follow that same mode. And I have seen great lapses of poor planning happen at our planning commissions as they now stand. And I've had to be party to legal efforts to undo this poor planning. And the courts agreed. The courts agreed that the Planning Commission should not have made the decision they made. Citizens informed them they should not have made the decisions they made. 2 or 3 conscientious planning commissioners agreed and voted against the decision they made, but it goes on the record. We can do better and we need to do better. Please support this charter amendment so we can bring a 21st century system of planning into our communities that really deserve the best that we can do. Mahalo.
Aloha. My name is Mike Moran. I'm the president of the Kihei Community Association. Our website is gokihei.org. I appreciate having the opportunity to speak on this issue today for our community association and for our South Maui community. We feel this is a very important issue, and we think it should be a major concern to everyone on the island. And the Kihei Community Association, or as most folks call us, KCA, we are in strong support of going in this direction, and we'll try and explain a few reasons why. We feel there's a great need for each district to have a major direct say in what happens in their district. We'll say this century, we have testified at the current island-wide planning commission dozens and dozens of times. Somebody asked me if we hit 100. I wouldn't doubt it if we did. But unfortunately, the outcome is so often that you're just disregarded. What you say is not even considered. And even to the point where sometimes you're disrespected. Your input is challenged by commissioners, like, you have no right to talk about this. We don't care what your community association decides. We're the decision makers. So that is very distressing to volunteers. And we feel that the system is broken. The current way it's run, the system does not work. This planning commission is not representing what our district wants on issues that are occurring in our district. Thank you very much for the opportunity to offer the opinion today for the Kihei Community Association. Mahalo and aloha.
I'm going to add one last thing. And please listen up on January 26th, 27th in the evening. The Planning Commission will be going out to the public, trying to get input from you on what you think of this idea and other amendments that will be on the potentially on the ballot down the road.